My name is Wanda Salaman. She, her, ella from Mothers on the Move.
And I'm Sandra Lobo, Executive Director at Northwest Bronx Community Clergy Coalition, and I use she, they pronouns.
Okay, so change process for me is very important because the work that we do, we always only focus on our membership and we never focus on ourselves as organizers. So when I decided to join the WOC program, it was because I needed to work on myself first before I could then do the work that I need to do for my members.
Yeah, that resonates. I actually sought out coaching first, and it was because I was struggling doing organizing and really kind of giving it our all to invest in our community, and realizing that I wasn't taking care of myself and was really feeling burned out, and then was invited to the WELL program. And so my own change process is I was really close to burning out and struggling to access tools that could ground me, that could allow me to be my best for my own sake, for my family's sake, but also for my community's sake. And WELL really helped me access tools that could ground me and also can allow me to take care of myself, to prioritize what I need so that I can show up for my people.
Could you tell us a little bit about the tools that you were provided that enabled you to overcome this?
Sure, yeah, of course. So the tools that really were critical to my change process were certainly meditation. We are invited to meditate every day, to be consistent around that and to ground ourselves in that, and then to journal. And that practice every single day, what I like to call it is spaciousness. In the beginning, it's really challenging to meditate, especially if you're not used to doing that kind of activity, and getting distracted and feeling pulled by the world or your worries or your concerns, but then really kind of coming back to your breath and helping to ground yourself so that you can create some spaciousness so that you are not reacting to the world. You're responding from a grounded place, a place that you have reflected from, and a place that where you're whole.
Wanda, can you tell us what tools you
So what really made me go to WELL was after I went to the hospital for close to a month. And I saw how bad it was. So during that year, it was like a year refreshing, to reflect for me. So then after I did that, then I was like, okay, so I better take up Lucia and the other people that have been telling me to join WELL to do it. So also the meditation, the journaling had been something that had worked with me. And also like the group part, just holding each other accountable. Had worked for me. Those are tools.
Why is women of color leadership vital for our movement work? It's vital. The women of color is very vital to the movement work because we being hurt and not just hurt because we've been feeling a lot of stuff for over so many years, right? So we are the first ones even though people be like, oh, the men are the head of the household, but in my community, mostly other women are the head of the household. Even there's a man in their house, but the women are the ones that's always in charge. So we need to have tools and also to have a space where women of color could really go and be able to cry, be able to scream, and be in communities. So because of things like those that we always getting hurt and stuff like that, we also need a place to rebirth, to reunivate, to recharge ourselves.
Women of color leadership is really critical for the movement. Like Wanda suggested, we're really at the most impacted in the community. Those are often the folks who are taking care of people around them, those who are making a lot out of nothing, that are really thinking about the ways in which we can transform the community. We need to make sure that the folks who are taking care of others are also taken care of and have the resources they need to thrive, not just to survive.
So what does this work mean for me, the visibility?
If you had more visibility,
for the particular type of work your organization does, or the work that you specifically do for your organization, what would it mean for you?
So for what this work and the more visibility for me means, like sometimes for me, right, it's not about how big the big movement that we're making, but also like what are the people that I'm helping change their life. Because by helping change one life means that that person will be able to change some other people's life. So it's really about like who are impacted with the work that I'm doing, but also how those people are going to impact their family and will continue to do that work. So it's really about like not shutting down a company or doing something like that, but it's like how can we change those lives?
Increased visibility of our work would be incredibly important because I think organizations like ours are deeply connected to the ground, deeply connected to people directly impacted, and our organizations are putting those folks at the center of decision making, at the center of leadership, and to maximize their solutions, their ideas, and their innovation, I believe would actually transform our communities.
How has the work of Mukti and Universal Partnership contributed to your leadership and ultimately the work you do in your community?
So the work that Mukti started and also Universal Partnership is very important to me because it's also like the work that Amu had done, her lifetime work back in Bangladesh and also here, but also a lot of women had input and shaped the agenda of the organization. So that's why Mukti is very important to me. And all the thinking that we had done around the organization is not, it was all women. It was especially focused on women of color here in the United States and international.
Yeah, for me, the importance of Mukti and Universal Partnership really, there's several layers that are really have been really impactful. First, I mentioned earlier that has really helped me gain skills, has helped transform my own path and the way that I'm able to show up in the world for myself, for my family, and my community. The second is leadership. It develops leadership not just for me, but for other women of color and allies, and supports that leadership to thrive and to take care of themselves so that they can show up powerfully in the world. And then thirdly, it builds this incredible community of folks that are there for each other, that are there to support one another, where we are able to share our struggles, our concerns, and be there for each other. And that's important. We are accountable to each other. We show up for each other. We challenge each other. And that's really critical for the world that we're in today and to sustain our leadership, not just for the short term, but for decades to come. The last thing I'll share is I invited my staff to be a part of this work. So I did work with several of my staff members, but then for the next year I invited more folks from my organization to attend because what we have gained individually, when you bring that on an organizational level or a community level, is really incredible in terms of thinking about what transformation is possible when you have a shared language, when you have shared tools and a shared analysis of we are not here for just the world, but us taking care of ourselves is taking care of the world.
Why is leadership so important to the work on the ground level?
Sorry, what kind of leadership?
Right?
Well, I mean, supporting.
Oh, supporting leadership.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say that leadership is important in the ground level because I came as a youth leader to the organizing. So if it wasn't like learning as a youth, I don't think I would have been staying in this work. And also like getting other leaders from the organization, like from Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition, Grotona Community Coalition at the time. If I didn't have those adults that were also like guiding me and mentoring me, I don't think I would have continued to be around the movement doing this type of work. So leadership is very important because they are the ones that are the first round of people that get the brunt of anything. Any policy that changes in the United States or anywhere around the world are the people in the ground that feel it first. None of the politicians will feel none of that stuff, or none of the rich people will feel that stuff, but the people that are on the ground are the one who's feeling that. So it's important for us to continue with leadership because they will understand.
Well said. I don't know how I would add to that. I mean, I think just to sum it up, the people on the ground are the ones that are impacted by legislation, by lack of investment. They understand the issues more than anyone else. And so who better to forge solutions, who better to invest in than those who understand the problems so that they can develop the innovation and the solutions to the problem. We have seen so many times where, legislation's passed to solve a problem, but actually just creates a new problem because the legislators don't understand the intricacies of what's actually happening on the ground, how it rolls out, and in its implementation. So investing in leadership on the ground is essential to understanding the issue and solving the problem, but also because our communities have just been disinvested in for so long. And so this work is critical because, we deserve to be invested in, we deserve to be developed, and because of our perspectives and our experiences, I think we are uniquely positioned to develop leadership, to govern, to run organizations, and to facilitate the transformation of others in our communities.
I was going to say something about that. So like around 2008, Mothers on the Move lost a lot of funding. And some of us top staff, they left. But the people that were from the community, they stood around. And one of the things when people are like, why are you guys still here? I said, because we know how to be poor, which is bad. Because, the lack, also the same thing, lack of resourcing, all that stuff. But the people that decided that they didn't want to leave the organization, they grew up in the Bronx. They are from the Bronx. And they wanted to make sure that they continue to do the work because it was not about how much money they were making, but it was about the impact and the work that they were doing in the community. So it's like, it's bad that we know how to be poor, but it's also like we do need the resources and the tools so we could continue to do this work for the long run. Yeah. Just thinking about like why this organization is important to us, because this is the organization that's helping organizers have their space where they could say what's going on, how they could talk about their families, they could talk about their traumas, they could dream about other stuff, but they could do it in a collective way. And they don't have to be from the same organizations because we are across from different organizations, and some of them are lawyers, some of them are not, some of them are funders, but we all dreaming the same dream, which is like we want liberation. And yeah, so.
Yeah. That's great. I think I would share that as folks in the movement, especially for women of color, folks are really invited to sacrifice for their families, to sacrifice for the community, to give it their all, to get through, be tough, be strong, work through, work beyond the trauma or beyond the challenges. And I think this organization really brings humanity into the space. It grounds our dignity, and that we are fighting not just for the liberation of our people, we're fighting for liberation for ourselves, and that we deserve the same dignity and humanity that we're fighting for out in the world. And so, given that those are the folks who are really in the trenches doing the work, this organization centers those folks doing the work. And I don't know any other organization that does that in this way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.